In today's image breakdown, we're going to take a look at this rather sexy image of this beautiful model, Jessica, lying on this gloss surface. Okay, let's get started. Now, if we explore the initial impression of the image, obviously we have a very beautiful model in sort of sexy lingerie or underwear, and we can see that there is also a feeling of glare and flare coming over the model, and that's intentional. I wanted to capture this sort of almost angelic feel of the light wrapping over and wrapping around the model. So we've got this very pure, bright white background, but you can see it starts to bleach over the top of the model's skin and over the arms. Now, of course, normally in photography, we try to avoid flare because it reduces contrast and creates a sort of wishy-washy effect and reduces saturation. But in this particular instance, I wanted to actually induce flare for creative effect, and we'll come to how that was done shortly. You will also notice that we have that very clean, pure white background. That was absolutely essential for this particular shot. And you'll notice that lovely reflection on the base surface, and the reflection is kept just slightly subdued so that it's not a full reflection like a mirror, which would be too much reflection, too overpowering. It's just a softer, washed out looking reflection of the model on the base surface. So let me talk through the lighting on the shot for you, and then we'll look at a lighting diagram as well. Now, immediately, if you look at this shot and you think about the white background, well, first of all, there had to be a lot of light striking this white background. And of course, there was a lot of light striking the white background. We had light coming in from behind the model, hitting the background white paper. But we also needed light from above, behind, higher up, to come down and strike the white floor area as well, to make sure that that was kept to a high enough level of white. Then there was lighting directly above the model, but it was aimed slightly back towards camera. Camera is in a very low down position, as you can see, given that we're sort of shooting from the thigh height of the model. We're certainly not above knee height there, we're very low down. That also allows us to see the reflection more easily. And then the lights above the model were pointing back in this direction to allow that light to wrap over the model's skin. And then if you think about all of that strong backlighting, then you're probably going to look at a silhouette situation. But in this case, to avoid that, we made sure that we had some lighting coming in from this direction as well, to fill in the shadow side and make sure that there was still detail in the shadows. And as a matter of fact, you can see that light in a gloss reflection on the shoe there. That light was a fill-in from a large para modifier. It didn't have to be, but because it's such a large modifier, it was easy to put a nice fill light into the shadows, a nice soft fill light, and keep it controlled. Okay, let's go from that image and jump over to a lighting diagram so you can see a little bit further. So there's my very terrible sketch of the model lying on the floor. And first of all, here is the camera low down, and you can see the white paper background behind the model here and coming down onto the floor. And then this square, or this rectangle underneath the model, that represents a big sheet of gloss white acrylic. Now, if you're in the USA and you don't know what acrylic is, it's in America, it's called Macrolon or plexiglass. In Europe, it's called acrylic or perspex. So gloss white acrylic laid down on the floor and the model laying on top of it. And then you don't see that back edge because that's kind of behind the model and blending into the white paper background. Now, if we start here, so to illuminate the background, we needed a couple of studio lights. one shining in here, casting light onto the background, another one at equal power, shining in light again onto the background to get that whole background wall beautifully lit, pure white. And actually in this instance, I let it run probably about a stop and a half over exposure, where normally I'd never let that happen. I'd only take pure white to, 1/30th of an f-stop over actually achieving white in the RGB values 255, 255, 255. In this instance, I wanted to induce the flare intentionally so that we would get that result that you saw in the image before. Now, additional to that, putting white light on the background alone isn't enough to get a white floor. So there would have been another light up here pointing downwards and illuminating the floor from this direction, and I wouldn't have been worried if that had allowed a little bit of spill back onto the model. The key lighting on the model was actually two strip boxes, one here on a boom arm going out of shot, and another one right alongside it here on another boom arm going out of shot. And those strip boxes were angled slightly towards camera and towards the model. So they were above the model, but slightly behind the model, but pointing back towards camera. That was throwing all the light out in this direction over the top of the model, giving us that lovely flare, edge and lighting that I was talking about before. And then, as mentioned previously, as you saw in the reflection on the shoe, there was a large para modifier over here behind my camera, throwing in a load of light just to fill in this shadow side of the model, which would have been too dark on that side from all of the backlighting. So all of that lighting resulted in that particular image. Wonderful work from the model, great pose, very happy with the final result. If you'd like to learn more about very specialized lighting techniques for fashion, beauty, portraiture, and even product, and great post-production, then head over to carltayloreducation.com. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching.